So Tim, what's going on, man? How are you holding up? How are you doing?
Well, I'm taking a break from work to talk to you guys. Everything's fine. I mean, just getting used to the new normal a little bit, where every meeting is through something like a WebEx or a Skype or a Zoom or whatever, including this. Um, yeah, just getting used to it. Still not used to not having baseball. That still sucks, but.
Yeah. So what are you doing to stay sane? Because I know we've picked up some pretty weird hobbies in the past couple of days.
Yeah, well, like everybody, you find something on Netflix that seems good. Yeah,
Yeah.
been watching some Formula One stuff, um, and then you know, working on the Dodgers 2080 site that we've talked a little bit about before.
Yep.
Just trying to put that stuff together. I finally am getting over mourning the loss of baseball, so I'm not hating things right now. So and to think of the players, these young guys. Fortunately, they just found out they're getting paid.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, hey, these guys, we need to spotlight these guys a bit. And one of my goals will be to, when someone gets called up, there's a place where people can go to get as much information as they can about that player, and
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
even know them already beforehand if they look at the site.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll dig into 2080 a little bit more, but I know not everybody knows quite what you're talking about when you say that, and
Yeah.
we did want to talk about the prospect pay or the minor league pay because that did come down today. But uh, the biggest thing right now, like Brooke was talking about, it's figuring out what to kind of do and how to bring baseball into your day to day. Obviously, you see, we're doing the virtual games as much as, but it's a lot more entertaining than it appears to the naked eye. For sure. But you watching any old games? You participating in any like the Twitter watch parties, or are you not there yet?
No, I finally have gotten there. I definitely watched the MLB Network the other day when they were doing the 1988 season, because that
Mm-hmm.
seems like that's still all we've got. Even though there could be a 2017 version of that, but we know what happened there. Astros, we're not forgetting, you pieces of trash. And then just I do enjoy watching some of the older games. It's interesting watching the 88 thing, because Dave Stewart was the starting pitcher, and I'm actually kind of friends with him, and so that's
Yeah,
really
it's
interesting to watch.
the
It's really interesting to watch, especially rooting against him. Sorry, Dave. But yeah, I do enjoy seeing. You can see the differences in the game, obviously, and you can see the difference in the athletes and stuff, but I still can enjoy it. It's not something I'm doing all the time. I can't watch too much of it, but I do
Yeah.
wish that MLB Network would show some things. Find a black and white game with Koufax pitching. Find a game with Clemente. Show some Hank Aaron or Willie Mays.
Yeah.
Just to, even if you condense it a bit to an hour and a half. Actually, that's about how quick they were.
Yeah.
And just just to see that, because there's all these legends out there, and all on Twitter is a lot. The things I like are, hey, who are your top four players, or what jersey would you get for all these teams, all that type of stuff. And there's a lot of names that none of us have seen that much of. We've seen
Right.
highlights. We've seen Willie Mays catch that ball in 54. But what else have we seen of him? We haven't seen that much of players like that.
Yeah, it's
So
always the same. What top three highlights for most of the super legendary Hall of Famers, iconic Hall of Famers. We've seen the Clemente throw how many times,
Yeah.
Yep.
and you got Sportsnet or whatever playing the same three Kershaw games. Or whatever. Yeah, mix it
yeah,
up.
and I don't even get that.
Oh, sorry, humble brag, I guess.
Yeah, well, San Diego, we have. I don't know what I have the Padres, so.
Well, they should get some Tony Gwynn throwbacks, a little bit of Trevor Hoffman, the good old
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
PV breaking his rib in '06, celebrating, or '05, whenever it was.
Carlos Quentin breaking Zach Greinke, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Matt Holliday
Classic
never,
Padre highlights.
Matt Holliday never touching home plate.
I completely forgot was a human being. Khalil Green. That was actually a human
Khalil Green.
ass.
Yeah,
Padre.
dude in his straight blonde hair. I mean,
Yep. Khalil Green.
Yeah.
One of the most exciting games I've actually watched. One of the throwback games. It was Rockies or Padres at Rockies, and it was like opening day night.
I think 2005.
Yeah, it was a great game. You know, it's cool seeing all these throwback dudes and Todd Helton, the legend over there. But another one of the things I wanted to bring up with you as we switch gears a minute here, gentlemen. Tim, you had brought it up on your Twitter today. You kind of got an email about the All-Star game. It didn't give you much information. You wanna kind of share that with the fine folks here on Blue Heaven?
Right. Yeah. So the Dodgers have sent emails out to all the season ticket holders about the All-Star invoices. Mm-hmm. They were due on April 3rd, and now they said and they've delayed them, which I'm happy for. It's my anniversary and all that stuff coming up. I got other bills to pay.
Yeah.
But the problem is, of course, when they didn't give an end date or a date that it's actually going to be due. So, I mean, we it's getting obvious that the All-Star game is in question, which is kind of upsetting. Well, it's really upsetting. This is something that I've been wanting. I've been waiting for years.
40 years.
Yeah, I didn't go to the one in 1980. I wasn't quite old enough to get down there, but I almost have my driver's license, so that's how old I am. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I renewed the season tickets for 2020. And I know there's a lot of people that did that, and let's just hope that something happens, because season tickets are expensive. I do okay with that, because obviously I don't go to every game, being here in San Diego. But it was one of the reasons to hold on to those tickets was that they raised the prices again, of course, and as Forrest Gump would say, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it definitely puts you in a weird position when you're talking about the All-Star game, because obviously season ticket holders have a little bit of an advantage in terms of getting into those things. But, if you're talking about completely moving the All-Star game to a different year, which, I mean, at this point, you got to imagine it's on the table for 2022 at least. You start thinking about that, then it's like, all right, well, how does the presale work for 2022 when you start talking about All-Star games? Do you take into consideration that people literally bought season tickets in 2020 just to have, that kind of access, and then it gets real complicated.
Yeah, personally, I mean, I think if there's baseball, and let's be frank here for a second, boys.
Frank.
I'm really feeling hesitant about there being baseball in 2020, but it's just Tuesday, so it's doom and gloom day for me. I can't go get my tacos. My taco truck down the street is gone. It's very sad times.
Oh no.
But if there is baseball, we know we're in Los Angeles. There's no reason why an All-Star game couldn't happen after the season. Couldn't happen potentially in November or something like that. We got Scott Boras talking about the fantastic weather out here in Los Angeles. Why?
Well, I thought the World Series was like on Christmas or something, according to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, with all of this stuff too, we're talking about the negatives. We're digging into that, but Tim, you and I were talking a little bit, and I know you had. I think it was you who wrote the post, or if not, somebody else did over at our fine DodgersNation.com. But there are some positives when and if baseball does come back, and in particular for the Dodgers. And you're talking about that pretty nasty looking, Dodgers pitching staff for a shortened season.
Yep.
Just kind of share some thoughts on that.
Oh man, it's perfect. I mean, you all of a sudden go, yeah, they have a really good pitching staff. You're going, well, let's see, we only need to get 80 innings out of Kershaw, 80 innings out of Price, 80 out of Buehler. I mean, and then all these guys, there is no such thing as an innings limit, because there's no way they can reach them. So Julio and Dustin May and Gonsolin. I mean, it's just Ross Stripling's going to be fresh. I mean, it's just going to be, they're loaded. And the guys, of course, that won't be in the rotation go to the bullpen. I mean, but I can see, just to get the season started, you got Price going 4 or 5, and then Gonsolin going 3 or something like that. Or if there's double headers and they expand the rosters, it's even better for us. I mean, holy smokes! There's no way other teams would be able to be able to contend with the Dodgers if they're playing a double header even like once every 2 weeks. They're just going to burn out so fast, because they're going to go, 7 days a week, maybe 8 games in 7 days. The Dodgers would be ready for it, and I don't know of any other team that can handle that.
Yeah, for sure. Tim, you're our resident prospect guy, so staying on that same vein, you got a couple guys like Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin who, I mean, at the start of it, before all this happened, found themselves, probably on the AAA starting rotation anyways, from what it sounds like. Not that this necessarily hurts their case, but let's say baseball is not played in 2020, which we certainly hope is not the case. Do you think that they got Alex Wood pretty much for nothing? He's not returning to the team next year. Because you got to think like that's a year of no Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May. That's a wasted year for 2 young guys. They got to be in the starting rotation next year, right?
Yeah, I as a prospect guy, I was thinking about that. That's one of my biggest thoughts is these guys are losing a year of development.
Yeah.
And the problem is though, they are losing that development time. They're not. It doesn't matter where they are, how dedicated they are to their workouts and everything. It's not the same.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Ross Stripling was talking about too. He's like, you can throw, you can keep warm, you can work out, you can lift, you can do everything that you need to do, but you're just not going to be able to monitor or mirror a game situation. You can't be ready for that. There's no way.
Well, John Rooney, he's a single A guy with the Quakes. I mean, he's in New York and it's freezing outside, so he's got some type of a device where he puts his arm in a sock and there's a ball at the end, and then he does his mechanics and throws just
that
like
was great.
in his loft or something like that. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's not the same, but a guy like guys they're in their early 20s, this is their time to make that step, and they can't.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about going from there's the Dustin May side of thing, Dodgers number 2 prospect, and then there's somebody like you're talking about Rooney, but in between there's the guys that are there knocking on the door. Maybe he's not as highly thought of as he was a couple years ago, but the Mitch White, and of course Josiah Gray. We already talked to him. I know you have a good relationship with him. We talked Gary talked to him in spring training. Some of those guys, Kasowski, who was getting some innings at Camelback. All these guys that are now chomping at the bit, ready to make those strides. Somebody like John Rooney, he had, he made his way up to Rancho, and he had a solid year. He's trying to kind of progress, and this is just really, I think, of anybody hurts the prospects most, way more than big leaguers for sure. I don't know. Am I wrong in assuming that or that statement?
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong at all. I mean, they're missing out on the. Let's just take a Lux. Okay, so he would probably be getting a full year of what, $560,000 a year. He's going to miss out on that if the season doesn't go through. I mean, all those guys, they're still not rich yet.
No.
And fortunately, the other player, a guy like Betts and even Bellinger, they're going to get paid somehow. They already have their contracts. But these other guys, they're just going to miss out. I guess if they miss the whole season, they'll get their $550.
Right.
I think, because it's a good question, because they're supposed to get their service time based on their service time from last year.
Yeah.
Guys like Lux and May and Gonsolin. Oh shoot, that'll take a lot of those guys out of the Rookie of the Year thing for 2021.
That's the biggest takeaway.
Freaking hate this.
Yeah, it's so
weird. There's so many different things that happen because of this. I mean, like I've talked about it probably 5 or 6 times just in articles over the past week or so, where it's like that whole service time agreement really, really messes with you. I mean, on one hand, I'm like, yeah, we need to have player friendly stuff because the relationship between the players union and Major League Baseball is like, I mean, Tim, we've talked about it for a while. And the closer we get to the contract expiring, we're like, oh man, we might be facing some sort of strike pretty soon. And then, this happens and it almost kind of starts to repair the situation a little bit, in a sense of you start seeing Major League Baseball folding on stuff that probably in the past they would not have folded on. We talked about them paying the minor league players for the first time, and I personally didn't expect it at all, because Major League Baseball just doesn't take care of their minor league players ever.
Yeah,
historically, minor leaguers are trash.
Yeah,
until you actually produce at the big league level. And thinking about that, what Brooke was talking about, Tim, I just can't help but kind of look back and laugh, but not haha laugh at you had that post I think in like January-ish about how we could be out of baseball like 2022 2023 because of the CBA, and it's
right.
Like, man, were those different times.
Yeah, I know.
Now we know what it feels like. And hey, I've gone through it a couple times now with 81 and 94. Then of course with 94. Good Lord, that was awful. I mean, 94 wasn't as bad for me because I had just gotten married and my wife got pregnant soon afterwards, so we were really busy.
Yeah.
But 81, man, that was the year, Fernando year got cut. We lost a third of that year. Yep. But it all turned out well in the end for 81. So let's do it again this year.
Are you one of those guys that looks at a potential 2020 Dodgers championship with them playing 100 games? Do you look at it any do you carry that trophy any less warmly if it's fewer games over a full season?
No, man, because again it goes back to 81. I was not old enough, even though I was born when they won in 65 around that time. I endured losing to the A's and then twice to the Yankees, taking all sorts of crap at school for it. Yeah. And so all that type of stuff, because I lived on the Central Coast, so we had all sorts of different types of fans there. It was glorious to win in 81. If they win 7 or if they win 4 games that gives them the World Series and the commissioner says they win, I will be at that parade. So sign me up for whatever. Just
Yeah, I'd take that parade over that one that the LA City Council was trying to get over the 17 World Series.
I would have showed up to that even, man. That's how bad it is.
In Hershiser's sweater, right?
That darn right, man. It's ready to go.
Yeah. All right, so before we wrap up and let you get back into work, tell people more about what the hell Dodgers 2080 is.
So
or what it's all gonna be too.
Yeah. So
there you go.
More like what it's gonna be. Right now, it's a Twitter account, Instagram account, and a work in process for the web page. But 2080 is the grading system, the grading scale that scouts use to grade different skills of prospects and different attributes of them. And so, you try to look for a name that fits and everything, and that one fit perfectly at 15 characters or less. It's got a little bit of cleverness to it, I think. At least Gary liked it. I'm
sure you had to explain it.
It was Gary's idea. It's like, hey, what do you think, man? We want to do some type of site on prospects? I'm like, sure, let's do that. And so now it's about just becoming a resource. I do have, like I said, there's a Twitter account. It's called Dodgers 2080. There's an Instagram account, Dodgers 2080. Mm-hmm. And then the website, we're working on that right now. We're not going to release anything quite yet, but we're working on content for it. We'll have, of course, a lot of player breakdowns. We're going to have cover as much as we can about the current games. I might even live tweet a game or something like that at Rancho. And then also I'm going to have a links page that just has every flipping link that I can think of we could use that someone can use. So it may seem a little nichey, but for people that do want to get to know who the players are, it will be a place to do it. It was kind of like when Jeter Downs got traded in the famous Connor Wong trade. All of a sudden we had content from Jeter Downs getting some good hits because people going, oh, you guys have stuff about Jeter Downs. And so all of a sudden the video that we had on YouTube that probably had 100 hits all of a sudden was a lot higher. And then the article, I looked at my ratings like, oh, holy smokes, all of a sudden this is hitting again. So to have that information available, it's not always on time. It's the looking back going, oh, we have all that information. We've made those contacts. We've talked to these players. We've talked to these people, and we've done the homework to bring those players a little more to life.
Yeah.
Keyword research at its finest.
Yeah. Personally, I'm going to find that very useful because I think a lot of people, we want to know the prospects and we want to know everything about them and we want to know all the details of every parts of them. But, there's just, like Tim, there's so many damn prospects in baseball.
Oh no, when I was at it in Arizona, I mean, I heard of some new ones, and some other guys are going, "Hey, can you take pictures of me?" Like, cool. Who are you? And so I'm looking it up and going, "Oh, cool. This is great." You know, this guy was, down at he was a rookie, just drafted or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of, and then you start looking at them going, "Dang, they look like they could be really good." Good numbers and like shoot. So there's even a lot that I don't know. It's easy to get to know the top 30. It's just past the top 30 that gets interesting. And right. Those are the guys that do come up. Gonsolin was not a top 30 prospect for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And now look at him. And then Matt Beatty, come on. Came out
he was nowhere. Hanging on at 30 last year.
Yeah. Now he's a major league player. He's solid dude. So solid player.
Yep.
Yeah. Sure. So that's Dodgers 2080 in a nutshell. Hopefully people will start following, and we'll get some content out there pretty soon.
Sure. Awesome. Tim, you have a Twitter handle you want to throw out there for people to keep up to date with you?
Yeah, I am at SD Dodger, and then I'm going to do the minor league stuff on at Dodgers 2080.
There you go, at Dodgers 2080. Again, this is Tim Rogers, our resident prospect expert over here at Dodgers Nation. You can also find his excellent content at DodgersNation.com from time to time. Tim, thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.